This conference will now be recorded.
Yes.
Hey, please record here. I'm not. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, we were
Kumar,
working on it. Yeah, go ahead.
I got an issue.
What is that issue?
Uh, I also pinged on chat the error message.
What
Will you
is that
please see
error?
that?
I did not see that. Can you repeat?
Yeah. Just wait. I'm pasting again. This I got while I test the postmaster.
Hmm.
It says
It's
message
authentication
author.
failed. 401 unauthorized.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. But
problem
my
is with your
token. Yeah. Token was generated successfully.
token will generate, yeah. Token will generate successfully. But whatever the parameters that you provide, now that will be the problem. Okay.
Uh,
Because when you are setting the parameters, if you have the slash at the end, okay, or if there's a space at the end of this one, what do you call the key? So like this, there will be small things.
Uh, I wrote the complete line in Internet Explorer. It will work. It works fine. But when I wrote here, it gives me authentication error. If you want, I can show you.
Wait for a second. We will see that. Huh?
Okay.
First of all, we'll finish
Okay.
and then we'll compare. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now see here. Yesterday we have created an entity which is a address entity and which is a single entity. Okay. Now the next step would be, let's create the another entity and we call it as multi data source entity. Okay. For example, we have a table called customer. Okay. We have a table name called savings account. Okay. So now let me go to the data model, select a data entity, and let me call this as ICI multi data source entity. We will call it as ICI multi data source entity. Click on the add button. Hmm. Okay. Uh, Now let's do this. Now let me select the primary data source here. The primary data source would be, see here, whenever you are working with a multi-data source, the first one that you need to add, the first data source should be a child data source. So I will take ICI savings account, and then here I will keep it as ICI multi-data source only here. I will call it as ICI multi-data source, ICI multi-data source, done, and then click on the next button. It will create a, oh, what is this? It says natural key for the table ICI savings account is not found. What does it mean? It simply means we have created a table, but the primary index is surrogate key. So whatever we need to do is we need to update the primary index and then we need to come back. Let me open that solution. Let's wait for a minute. Now let's open the savings account table. If I go to the tables and then ICI savings account, open. Here you can see that if I go to indexes, I did not create any. Okay. So we will create one primary index, new index, and let me call this as account number IDX. Okay. We will call this as account name IDX. And let me drag and drop the field here. What is the field? Let me drag and drop the account number. Okay. This is the next step that you need to do. And then go to savings account, table properties, and here you will find the property called primary index. Set it to account number IDX. And the next step would be check the relations. ICI customer, all the properties are set. Done. Okay. Now we need to do a sync for this. And once the sync is finished, we will need to create the data entity. Okay. This is one more very, very important thing that you need to remember. Most of the time, people will fail here, frankly speaking. Okay. So please remember, you need to do this. Wait for a minute. Build got completed successfully. Now let me go to the other project, the data entities one. Now let's try to create it back again. Okay. Now let me select data entity and let me call this as ICI multi data source entity. Click on the add button. In this case, you need to select the primary data source as ICI savings account, and then let me update this to ICI multi data source, and let me update this to ICI multi data source DSS. Okay, click on the next button. Now let's see what happens, whether it throws the error or whether it will come, or let's see. Okay, now you can see we have account number, minimum balance, available balance, customer ID, date of account creation. Now here you can find a field button called add data source. Select this. You have the relation. Select the relation. Click on the add button. Now you will see a small arrow mark here asking for to add a new data source. Now select this. Add customer. Now you got the customer as well. Okay, you can add whatever the fields you want here. Not one or two. You can add all the fields. Okay. You can add all the fields. Yeah, if you want, you can remove the address, or you can add. That's up to you. Okay, done. Now click on the finish button. Now let's say if you want to add one more data source called address to it, you can select add data source. You can add it. Okay. Now once this step is done, simply right click and do a rebuild. And in the meantime, let me open the Postman. And Gaurav, now you can see here and let me know where exactly you are missing the things. Okay.
Okay. Actually, I also give the content type. I guess I was missed that, but I given that, and the URL is just working perfectly fine on browser. The bearer token and content type was application JSON. Both I have maintained.
Because only one thing here in the get token, it will get token on whatever you give. Okay, even if the client secret is wrong, or even if the resource is wrong, even then it will give you the secrets. Okay, it will expect only this domain. If this goes in the right way, it will automatically generate. If I put slash and something else, it will generate the token for me. And here one more thing, you can say this one tenant. What is the tenant you have added?
Added from Azure.
And everything you need to compare the small letters and capital letters as well. Okay, let's say if you add some capital O or small capital T or something like that, then as well it will throw errors.
If there was any error in that get URL, the token would not get generated.
No, it will, because even if I give only up to here, only up to here as well, it will generate the token. Okay, if I use only up to here, it will generate the token, or if I use the entire thing, it will generate the token. If you miss, let's say if you give OUTH something like that, then it will not generate.
No, but my token was generated.
Okay. Yeah, token. That's what I'm saying. Token will get generated. Token, there will be no problem generating the token in 90% of the cases. Only when you hit this address, then you will face the errors. And one more thing is that token will expire every 2 hours or 3 hours or something like that.
I had given never expire.
No, not that one.
Okay.
You said
Okay.
client secret. I am saying token, the one you generate here. You are saying
Okay.
about this one. This will never expire because here there will be
Yeah.
type as well.
Yeah. I clicked just 1 minute before getting the token and getting address data.
Okay.
Or you
And
can
can you
say
check
I
if there
just
is any
press send.
slash at the end?
No. No.
No,
No slash. No
because
slash.
that is one more thing that will cause the issue. Okay, let it finish. We will see generating the token again. Okay, bill got completed successfully. Now let me go to front end and let me open the data here. We will see using the OData again. US, and we will see whether it works or not because we have added multiple data sources now.
Yeah. Yeah, Kumar is generated. There was a slash at the end in the URL.
I
I
told you,
got it.
na?
Yes.
That's what.
Thank
Something
you.
there will be very small thing and it will.
Yeah, now I got the data. Thank you.
Okay. Because those are very small things. Okay. Sometimes what people will do is they will forget and they will copy paste and they will add slash here. Because in most of the blocks, what they will do is whatever the slash or whatever the small things, they will keep as is. They will not remove. And
But
we people will
I
suffer.
typed each and everything what you have said from seeing the video. I have typed every word.
Yeah, except one slash.
Yeah,
You
except
missed
from
it.
slash, I accept.
And I think in video I might have told you that one as well. You should not have any
Yes, yes.
slashes or something.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's a copy and paste issue, yeah. Because when we do a copy and
Yeah.
paste, we'll get it. So that we can't
Okay.
help. Sometimes it will happen. Okay. Now let me go to the data management again. And here actually you can this time we will try with the XML format. And here I want to retrieve the data. I want to see whether my data entity got created or not. Okay. We will see the JSON. Next, here let me click on the export button. What did it do? Nothing. I don't know whether this is the problem for me only with the Internet Explorer or you all will have the same thing. This MSN really irritates me a lot. Okay, now I got it. Save, open folder. Let it open. And in the meantime, here we will call it as the group name as ICI multi data source. ICI multi data source. And then click on the add entity. I will show you the export. You can try the import. It's very simple. ICI multi data source entity. And then you can select the target format as XML, attribute or element, whatever you want. And then don't skip the staging. Click on the add button. Done. Okay, and now it has loaded. Good. In the view map, it is throwing some error here. Let's see what is it. And then come back. Okay, the mapping visualization. Oh, address line 1 and address line 2. This is customer underscore address line 2. It is not able to map. Why? Because here there is only one address line. Can you say this? Address line. Okay, this is one more thing that you need to check while working with this one. Okay, and if I go to the mapping details, address line 2 underscore. Either you need to delete this one or you need to add one more field in your XML. Okay, and I hope it has added address line 2 underscore. does not exist in the table. In the staging table, there is no address line 2 underscore. Whereas in the target field, it is there. So there are multiple options to work with this. There are multiple options to do this. What are those? First one is, let's say if you have an EDT array, let's say if you have an EDT array, and if you want to get the data out of it, then what you need to do? You need to create a virtual field. This is where the virtual field, or we will also call it as, let me show you, unmapped field will come into picture. Okay, right? So okay, it's 2015 nowadays, but let me check. Okay, it will close. Okay, I will open the JSON 1 second. Okay, you can create something called unmapped field. Okay, if I go to the staging table here, in the entities, in the multi data source staging, if I open this, you can create a field called unmapped field. If you want to work with that address line 2 as well, you will have something called unmapped field. You can see there is only one address line because this will take from the table directly. This is not taking from the EDT. If it takes from the EDT, it will respect the EDT array. But it is not taking from the EDT here. It is taken from the table. So what you need to do is, you need to create some new field. So whatever the field you will create on this here is nothing but your unmapped field. And how to map it? If you go to the data entity, let me show you. Here it will mention clearly. In the multi data source entity, if I right click on this, it will show you new string unmapped field. We need to create one unmapped field called address line 2. And then we need to add that address line 2 with this one. I want you to do that. Okay. We need to take this address line 2 as the unmapped field. And then the unmapped field, you will find it here and you need to map it. Then what will happen? You will get the address line 2 as well. Okay. That is the way we work. Or the another way is you can take a virtual field and then you can use a virtual field. Currently, I am deleting this for the sake of getting the data. Click on the yes button and click on save button. I want you to try that unmapped field here. It will be very interesting. Okay, because that unmapped field, people are going to work with it few of the times, not most of the times. Okay, 90% of the times you will get this for data, but few of the times people will work with it. So try it out. Okay, create an unmapped field and map that unmapped field in the mapping to this multi data source entity. That is where we will use unmapped field or the virtual field. And there is one more requirement. Sometimes what will happen is you will have a name field. Okay, when you are getting the name field as the input from third party, you will see that that name contains first name and last name concatenated. But in AX, let's say it has first name and last name in a separate fashion. Then what you need to do? You need to split that. You need to split that on the base of comma, space or something, and then you need to add it. At that point as well, we are going to use this unmapped or the virtual field itself. Please remember. Okay. Now let me click on the export button. We will see whether it is exporting the data or not. Click on the close button. Now let me go to job history. Didn't run. Let me select this job ID. This is the old view. This is the enhanced view. Okay. This is the future view. Let me refresh. Okay, it has exported the data. Click on download file. Now the same file, by modifying if you import, it will get imported. Okay. Save. Open folder. Right click. Open. But please remember, there are few things that you need to remember about this multi-data source entity. Now you can see there is a one-to-one mapping. If there is one-to-one mapping, it is going to work perfectly. Let's say if there is a one-to-many mapping. Let's say I have the sales table and sales line. If I add sales table and sales line, what will happen with multi-data source entity? In sales table, you have a unique reference called sales ID. In sales line, you will have a unique reference called sales ID. Okay. Now, if you want to get the unique reference, if you add the sales ID between both the tables, while creating the entity, you have added sales ID from parent and sales ID from child. There will be a duplicate key issue for that sales ID because sales ID will become the unique index. Okay. So whenever you are working with multi-data source entity, and if you are working with one-to-many mapping, so that actually should not cause the issue. But in the previous versions, I used to get that issue. I haven't checked on this version, but in the previous, because sales ID of sales table, it will take the same thing here. Okay, because one sales order will have multiple lines. Sales table 1 record, sales line 3 records. The sales ID will be again the duplicate 3 times if you have 3 lines. So obviously you will get that issue. But if you want to go through that issue now, there is no other way, because people used to ask this question as well. Let's say if I want to have one-to-many mapping, okay, one-to-many mapping, and I want to have the sales ID field, then obviously it's not possible, nah? So whenever you have the one-to-one case, then you can use this. If you have the one-to-many case, and if you are not using that unique index field, then you can go with this one. That unique index field you are not using, then you can go with multi-data source. If you want to use that unique index field, then obviously you can't use it. Please remember. Okay. At that point, we have a different thing called composite data entity. Okay. Before going to the composite data entity, let me open this, and we will see in the Postman how we are getting the JSON, because I haven't seen that. By default, it will get the data from dat. Okay. By default, what it does is it will get the data from dat. Let's see how it does. What is the name here? The name is multi DSS, or let's see. Where is this? Okay. ICI multi DSS. This is the one. Let me copy and let me go to this one. And instead of this, I will paste it over here, and then I will put a question mark. I will add cross hyphen company equal to true. Okay. I will add cross hyphen company equal to true, and I need to generate the token now. Let me go to get token and send. Now you can see I got the token here. Now you can use this token, and you know this is how Power BI integrates with. Dynamics 365 by using the authentication. Okay. Now I am removing this address. I don't want to add anything. Let me click on send button, and let's see what we get. Oh, great! We got the error. Can you see this? Error reading JSON object from JSON reader line 0 position 0. Oh, it says it cannot read, but why? Let me check if there is anything with our exception here. At runtime dispatch info. It's not giving for multi-data source entity here. I don't know why it is not deserialized. Let me do one small thing. Let me add some empty body in the JSON, and let me send and see what it does. No, the field with ID 0 does not exist in table ICI multi-data source entity. Okay, it is trying to search some field, and it is unfortunately not able to find that particular field. What is the field that we are trying to use? We are not using anything here. Okay. No. Okay. Let me do one more small thing. Okay. I want to remove all these things. And what is the name here? It's account number, na? Account name? I don't remember. Or customer ID. Okay, I think it's customer ID. Okay, I'm trying to give some value. Send. Again, it says the same error. Can anyone try why we are getting this error? The field with ID 0 does not exist in the table multi-transaction entity. Do you want to try this? Do you want to resolve this? Hey, please speak out here. Okay, you might ask me why you have added the cross company equal to true, which is why we are getting this error. I will simply say no, yeah. That should not be the case. Okay, even then, let me show you. Cross company equal to true, we'll try to get the data from all the entities. Send. Okay. The field with ID 0 does not exist in ICA multi-data source entity. Okay. Here only difference we have done is we have added multiple data sources. That's the only thing we have done. Okay. And if you remember, if I don't add anything here, it should not throw any error for me. Okay. And let me do one thing. Let me make it some none. Send. Okay. Now let me add the form data. Key. I will cross this as cross hyphen company, and then I will set the value to true with the parameterization. Okay. Now it says input string dash 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 is not a valid number. Okay. Say this. Newton's of JSON not reading exception. Okay. Now what I want you to do is you can see these exceptions. Okay. These are very generic. Whenever you work with the O data, you are going to get all these exceptions. Now, whatever you need to do first thing at the first step is copy this stack trace. Okay. Whatever we need to do is we need to take this stack trace and then check. Okay. What does it say and where did it go? Now you can see here all these are from system.web.http. It is using a HTTP request and response. And the first thing it said get company from request. It is trying to call this, and then it is trying to call the post, and I set the cross company equal to true, and I did not add any filter. Okay, I did not add any filter from the specific company. Okay, and what it is saying, it is not trying, it is saying I am not able to post. Okay, can anyone tell me why we are getting this error? No, just think here, think logically. Here, what is the request I am using? Post. What I am trying to do? Get. Is that right?
Yeah, get we need to select in post instead of
Ah,
post.
just think. Okay, it's very simple. You need to say it immediately. Oh, you're trying to use post. You should get. When I need to use post, when I have this data and I have added the JSON here, then you need to use post. It's very simple. Okay. Please remember, you need to think logically because all the time, whenever we see this kind of big errors, we will do panic. Nothing else. Frankly speaking, I found this a whole lot of times. Whatever the issues that we get will be very, very simple. But unfortunately, what we will do is panic. So don't panic, and you need to see where exactly you're getting the error. It is saying, I'm not able to parse the value and deserialize the value because we did not provide any value. Now, if you copy this, update the data and send, then it will get sent, and then data will get created. This is how you need to work with multi-data source entity. Now you can see here, it has the data of savings account, it has the data of the customer. Okay. Now there is one last one and very interesting one. Okay. You can try import. It's in a similar fashion. There is no difference. Okay. There is one last one and very interesting one, and that is composite data entity. I told you about one-to-many mapping, na? I told you about one-to-many mapping, na? What is that? You have the customer, you have the sales table, you have the sales line. Then how to do the export and import of the data? To do that, we will use something called composite data entity. To work with composite data entity, first of all, you need to create a simple data entities. Right click on the add button, new item, and then create simple data entity. Okay. But actually time will not be sufficient. I want to show you all at once, composite data entity. Okay. So now what I want you to do is, I want you to create 3 entities, and I want to go with the standard this time. In the standard, we have 3 tables. One is called cost table, second one is called sales table, and the third one is called sales line. I want you to create entities for those 3 tables. Okay? I want you to create entities for those 3 tables, and then I want you to try that. Okay? Because tomorrow I'm going to create entities for those 3 tables, or if the time permits, I will create them today because it will take some time for explanation of it. After creating them, you need to export the XMLs, 3 XMLs for those 3 entities, and then we need to create a composite data entity. Got it? You need to do all these steps. You need to do all these steps. So please do this. Okay? Create 3 entities: customer, sales line from the standard tables, and then export the XMLs and keep it with you. I will show you how to create a composite entity out of it. Okay? Because time will not be sufficient. I have more 15 minutes and that will not be completed. Okay? So I want to break here for today. Now it's your time. Please let me know if you have any queries. If there are no queries, I will end session here and we will start with the composite data entities tomorrow. Any questions? Thanks all for the session. Let's meet again tomorrow. Thank you all. Bye.